Roadies, this is Adriana from Roadie Free Radio. In this episode, Larry talks to Steph Paynes, founder and guitarist of the all-woman band Lez Zeppelin. In this short clip, Steph talks to Larry about what it is to perform live and getting that Jimi Hendrix sound. Her tips: work with the tone and don't overthink it. If you want to hear more about Steph and Lez Zeppelin, make sure to check out the full episode number 107 from May 11th, 2020. Thank you for listening and thank you for subbing. Here are Larry and Steph.
Did they do covers in their day? And I don't mean like blues covers and stuff like that, but did they do stuff? And if they did, is that something you guys have ever thought of, like throwing in a curveball into a set? Throwing in a Hendrix tune?
Yeah. Well, we have done that, but we've definitely done that and Cream tunes. So we've come up with stuff. But of course, all of Led Zeppelin's performances, from the beginning, like, for example, when they would do A Whole Lot of Love, they would go into a half an hour of just jamming from song to song of cool, influential cover tunes that they did, blues stuff and early rock and roll stuff. And they definitely did that.
Because I don't think in the two shows
their entire first album was covers.
Well, right. But I've only seen I've only seen you guys twice, right? Twice, maybe three times. But I don't remember any covers in that.
We may have not done that. Right? I think I don't know.
And I asked just because it's like, because the Zepp thing is so good, that I'm kind of like, oh, let's see where else it goes.
Oh yeah. Well, we have done concerts, where those things have been worked into, Dazed and Confused. There's, I forget the name, but there's that song, Are You Going to San Francisco with the Flowers? There's all of that in the middle of Dazed and Confused. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, but there's all sorts of stuff that we would pull in because they did it in that particular concert. Mm-hmm. But, if you're doing physical graffiti, you just kind of stick to the album. But yeah, there's in jams like that, we have done it. And, not exactly the way they do it, because that would sort of be, it was a jam, right? So to copy their jam is a little bit, sounds too
on the nose.
Too much brain damage.
Yeah.
But also just beside the point a little bit.
Having gone so deep in their musicality, knowing as much as you do about gear and guitars and all that kind of stuff and the recording process with them, what's the biggest misconception out there for players that are trying to learn their stuff? That you're like, it's like, what's the song that sounds the easiest but is actually the most difficult?
Right. Well, that's interesting because, having done a couple of records now as well, first of all, there are maybe two things. I'm sure I'll think of a third. But the first thing that you realize, especially if you're trying to get Jimmy's sound, and especially if you're recording in particular, there is very little effect on anything. I mean, this is not modern guitar shredding. There is no distortion that lets you take your right hand off the guitar and just, tap with your left hand and massive sounds come out at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
No. I mean, this is work. Notes, it's very rockabilly. Notes are picked. These lines are played. And there's no help from an overdriven guitar amp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You realize that when you try to match sounds. So that's one thing. Like, to get his sound, you have to play the instrument. And you also have to work with the tone of the guitar. Because that's really what he did a lot, especially live. It's like there's not a lot of pedals. There's a wah, there's a phase 90, there's maybe a Roger Mayer Octavia, which is used on very little, if anything, and maybe a boost, a tuner. That's about it. You know what I'm saying? Generally speaking.
Yeah.
And so it's really about how you play the guitar with tone, volumes, moving it around. There's all of that. But the other thing is that I think about Jimmy, and he probably would say this more, he said it a lot of times. You know, you think that there are all of these things going on when you listen to it, but really, the easiest way to play it is the way that Jimmy's going to play it. It's not, you can't overthink it. If there's an easy way to play it, that's how it's played. I've had people try to show me, like, this is how Stairway goes, and they're jumping all over the neck. It's like, no. He would never do that. I mean, it's just, it's simpler than you think.
Right.
But, and it's all how you play it. But, I think, you know, you could talk about something that sounds really, really hard, like, you know, Achilles' Last Stand, you know, and it is technically, you have to be at a certain level to play any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like Song Remains the Same. You know, if you can't play at a certain level, you're not really going to be able to play that. But once you can, those songs are woodshedding. You get it down, you practice it. They're fast, sure, but you can practice it and you can get that. What's a lot harder are songs like Since I've Been Loving You. Okay? Or even a song like Babe, which is finger picking and which is dynamic and which is naked, or Rain Song. It's all there and you're playing it alone, and it's all about how it builds and how it's dynamic and how you play it in a beautiful way. That is a lot harder than trying to, you know, play something like Song Remains the Same, which is so fast, or something like that. Or, you know, Hot's On for Nowhere, which I love playing. I love playing Hot's On. But you know, coming from a jazz background, it's easy to play that kind of feel, but it's also, you know, it's fun because you got all these riffs and they're going fast and we're laughing and giggling. But, you know, it's a lot harder to play the solo and Since I've Been Loving You and really unleash it and bare your soul and cry to the world and take them with you.
Yeah.
That's harder.
Hey, what's happening, roadies? It's Larry here. Just wanted to thank you so much for listening to this short clip. I really hope you got something out of it. If you can take 2 seconds to head over to iTunes and drop us a review or a comment, we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Keep listening, keep coming back, stay healthy out there, and remember, no roadies, no rock and roll.